We are going to be switching to English for this one, and today we are going to be talking about the videos. So our next panel is Music on Screen. Do you really need that video? So obviously today we have an evolving relationship between music and visual media. So we're going to discuss how music videos influence the way we experience and engage music in digital age. And we have a panel of experts here. So why don't we just introduce ourselves, and let's start from Nikita over here.
Hi, I'm Nikita Voitov. I'm a musician and a self-taught DOP and editor for music videos.
Cool. Linda?
Hi, I'm Linda. I'm a general manager of band Southern Lights from Latvia, Riga. I have been working with them for a bit more than 4 years now.
Hi, I'm Eglė. I'm founder of music management and marketing company called Perspective Collective here in Vilnius, Lithuania.
Hi, I'm Rob, a failed musician turned booking agent. I now work at Fiinix Live and have been an international agent for 12 and a half years.
Sounds great. I'm going to be your moderator for today, Tomas, Paliūnas. I work at the Stift One Music Group. We actually had to have Gedminaitė from Perspective Collective moderating this. Unfortunately, she's fallen ill, so I'm here to help her. Actually, I have a lot of questions that she has prepared for this panel, so just to give her some benefit for preparing these questions, and so a lot of my questions are going to be based on her work, so respect to her. And let's start. So let's start with you, Nikita, perhaps. And the first question we have for you is a very straightforward question, which is there still a place for big-budget music videos in the age of TikTok and social media? What do you think?
Do you want me to hog all of the time for this panel, or do you want me to give a brief answer?
I'm sure you know the answer to that.
I mean, yeah, there's room for that, but big budget, I wouldn't say so. It really depends. I mean, I don't know. You obviously have plenty of experience, or maybe encountered stuff like budgeting for music videos. Eglė, for example, you have experience managing bands' budgets and stuff like that. But is there a place? Like the question is...
It's actually a good thing to perhaps define the budget. What is big budget? So you're managing BAR, the Lithuanian band? Is that
Sorry, no, I'm not managing BAR. I'm playing in it.
You're playing. Here we go. That's good. I find out something cool. So what do you think is a big budget in Lithuania for a band?
Oh, man.
Roughly.
You want the truth? Or
why not?
You want the truth? It can be 1,000.
1,000.
Yeah.
It's a big budget.
Yeah, because it all depends on your scale. It all depends on who you are,
right,
at what point in life you are, how creative you are. And a big budget can also be 100,000. But if you scale it down to specifically target the person you're talking to or working with, to him it's always going to be the biggest budget he can handle. I mean... It can be even 500 euro, because everybody interprets money from their own perspective.
So, would you agree? Is that a big budget from your experience, 1,000 euros?
Nikita is right. It depends on the band and the person and the stage they're at. But for example, in Lithuania, there are music video production companies that don't even start talking to you if you don't have 4,000, 6,000 euros. So, it depends who are you looking for here and where you're at.
I can add,
yeah,
maybe.
Latvian perspective, please. Yeah.
Totally agree with Nikita and Eglė. If you're a musician, there's always some way to spend money, and music videos are maybe not the first priority. I mean, if you're writing an album, there's studio expenses, producer, etc. So I totally agree. Depending on artist scale, a music video is always a big budget. Yeah.
And Rob, you're probably based in a market that has a little bit more a bigger economy than us here. So what's a big budget for the bands that you had contact with?
I think everyone's nailed it on the head. I mean, money's different for each individual client that you're working with. So there is no kind of top end and bottom end. It depends how much the label's putting in, if there's a label involved, if there's any band fund there, or if they've got any sponsorship. Or I mean, the big one that I see a lot is branding. If there's a brand involved, they'll give the equipment and they'll give everything that artist needs to kind of create the video. But my big thing with videos is we live in an age where we have all this technology at our fingertips that costs us nothing. You can get glasses now that film from your perspective that Ray-Ban do. You've just got to reach out to Ray-Ban and go, hey, I'm a band from Lithuania, I really want to do some work with you. We'd love to record a video through your glasses and have you as an advertiser through this process. Then you've got a really cool video there that no one else has done yet. And, you know, I'm amazed that no one else has done this. So I think it's more putting the budget aside and going back to the roots of being an artist and actually being more inventive and, you know, artistic with it and having a bit of fun with the video instead of being all serious and demanding 10, 25, 30, 50,000.
I have something to add briefly. It just occurred to me that a budget implies if the people you're hiring are going to get paid. And that's the only case you should use the word budget in front of an artist. Because, oh yeah, that's a fraction of my salary right there in that big package. And usually that's not the case when it comes to just artistic, raw, pure artistic expression. You spend the money on other things, not on salaries.
And I guess you have lots of friends helping you, and that they're not always taking a fee for their work, right?
Exactly. That's what I usually recommend for any young band if they approach me, and it's very kind of obvious with them that they don't have a lot of money. That's the first thing I suggest them is to figure out what can your friends do for you, you know? And it's usually more beneficial since they contribute and grow and develop, but that's a different topic.
Okay, so we kind of established what the big budget is. Can be anywhere from 500,000 to 100,000 euros, right? Depends really. So, but the main question still stands: is there still a place for such big budget, whatever the budget is, videos in the age of TikTok and social media? What do we think, Linda? What are your thoughts?
Excellent question. Before this panel, I looked up to music consumption research in Latvia, and it actually turns out that YouTube is still the most popular platform where people are listening music. The YouTube free version is the most popular. It's beyond Spotify in Latvia. Yeah, so there is definitely a place. You should never forget to create cool content for your music in YouTube. That's my opinion.
Yeah, Rob?
Yeah, and I think it's like, we've got to remember there are kids out there that are watching people watch a film and watching people play a game and watching people unbox shit. It's like, that's crazy. So there's obviously going to be a market there for people to watch music videos. I do it, I watch videos nearly every day, and I think it's a really important part. But that being said, what I say to every artist I work with or speak with is just don't make a shit video, because, you know, that's going to be on the internet forever then. Like, make something that you're proud of and that is going to be enjoyable for the audience that you're delivering it to, because it doesn't matter what the industry thinks, but it matters about your audience, the people that are going to fund your career for the rest of your life. So you need to make something that's going to be enticing to them and that's going to draw them in, and also, you know, develop your music further and the understanding of what you're doing.
Eglė, do you have any thoughts on that?
We actually had a discussion with one artist here in Lithuania like a few years back, and he was telling about like how when they do an album release show, you can see which tracks already had a music video released, because people respond to those differently. Like, they know the lyrics, they know the track itself, even though they're playing that track for the first time. So I guess the video adds, has a huge impact to the artist brand, as you mentioned. And when people can, you know, it's all about storytelling now, about artist brand and storytelling. And music video is one of the forms where a person who is listening to your music can find all different bits and bobs and different things that he or she can relate to. So there's still a place for a music video, I guess.
The question was, is there a place for a big budget music video?
Correct.
Right. No, I'm sorry, I'm just checking in. But I think that it very... let me get my thoughts together. I just watched A$AP Rocky's video, right? Have you seen it? Have you seen like the Taylor Swift music video? It's been shot like a couple years ago. It's insane. It sort of portrays this luxury, you know, a very Americanized vision of media and music in general, in my opinion. And it was a huge budget music video, like insanely large scale. And there was also like Lil Dicky's music video, Ha Ha Ha, shot in Vilnius. And I stumbled upon him talking about the numbers, you know, running down how much it cost him to do that music video. He said it cost him $1 million to produce it here in Lithuania. But
that's a big budget.
Yeah, that's a big budget, yeah. And it's sort of like flaunting. It's like a sum of money most of us is like heavily attainable, you know. And most likely he's not going to get any of it back anytime soon, or maybe he's gonna get it back. But also he also claimed that it would cost 5 times more to do it anywhere else. And where my train of thought is going is that you see this bloated vision of a huge, insanely well-crafted music video with experts and the greatest cinematographers ever, and then you compare it to yourself. And then you have that measly, like tiny €1,000. What can you do with that? Right. And then it's going to be the biggest budget music video you could ever produce at that time. And maybe the point is that you should not compare yourself. And I think big budgets usually discourage artistry, and they empower the, you know, heavily budgeted, the ones that are real, you know, in heavy quotation marks.
I think that big budget question as well is going to change over the next kind of decade, especially as we advance with technology. You've just got to look at the Apple Vision Pro. It's going to be a matter of time before the first artist develops the first immersive music videos so that you, as the listener, can put them on and you can be in the music video itself. We've already seen over the pandemic that you could go online and you could be on stage with the bands as they were performing, go backstage, be at the sides, be in the engineer's desk, be in the pit. You can choose where you're doing it. So when we cross over that line, it's going to be the next stage will be immersive music videos, and you know I think that's going to be an exciting period. But it's also going to mean that budgets are going to get even bigger for that.
And I guess there's also new tools for editing and making videos, right, with the help of AI. So that's also probably going to bring the costs down. Let's talk a little bit more about the social media videos, so, you know, the Reels and TikToks and YouTube Shorts, actually, platforms trying to get into the short-term videos as well. So, Eglė and Linda, what are your experiences working with bands and managing the videos on social media? Do you encourage people to do that? Do they do it themselves? How invested are you into the process? Do you just leave it to them? What can you tell us about that side of things?
Yeah, since the beginning of last year, we have a team member who is doing only this communication in social media. She's creating ideas about content, and it worked very well for us. We got more sponsors because the content is more thoughtful. Yeah, for the brand. And our most audience is in Instagram, in age group 18 to 34 years. But recently we started to put a lot more effort also on TikTok. But we don't use TikTok like to promote. Of course, we promote our stuff there, but mostly we put content like from everyday life. Like we went to Kaunas a couple of months ago and we filmed a TikTok about this cold soup testing. There was this beef. Something funny, something that might... that might be brought to new audience. So we use TikTok as an audience development tool. But we still work very much with music videos, focus a lot on the brand and the values that we put in videos. But yeah, social media is more like audience development tool for us.
That makes sense. And one interesting thing that you said, you have a dedicated person specifically helping bands do this. So, so I guess it takes a little bit of time away from the bands, right? So
yeah, sure. And we plan like filming days, all day filming stuff, and that can be used later regularly. That's the thing. You have to do it on a regular basis.
Fair enough.
One TikTok a month would not work.
How about you, Eglė? What's on your team?
Working with the alternative music artists, it's usually when you mention TikTok or Reels, the answer is, I won't do that silly dance. And it's not gonna happen, because that's what they think that TikTok is. But so it's, for us, it's still an educational process about, you know, how you as an artist can use that platform to express yourself, express your brand. And it being on TikTok and being active on TikTok doesn't always mean that you have to do that trendy dance. So yeah, we're still educating bands on that.
And do you have bands doing videos themselves, or maybe someone is helping them? How does it work on your side?
Usually it's bands doing the videos themselves. So yeah, we have one act who are, for example, they dedicated their TikTok for just funny stuff, totally unrelated with the music that they're releasing. Their jokes and giggles on that TikTok profile. So yeah, usually for us it's bands themselves doing that.
Right. Rob?
I've got to stress that I don't work for TikTok, from what I'm about to say, but I fucking love TikTok. I think it is the greatest thing that ever happened to social media, and it's fine that Instagram Reels are copying it and YouTube are trying to copy it. Spotify are even doing their own thing now with the videos kind of looping in the background. But I found my last 3 artists that I've signed to the agency internationally through TikTok, just by going through and finding these amazing videos pop up, because it reads the algorithm so differently to what Instagram does and what YouTube does. And conversation I had with my friend yesterday was that it's so difficult, like for bands outside of some of the major markets, to find international representation, whether that be agents, managements, labels. Fucking push it, use TikTok, because more agencies out there are using it now to find new artists. My past 2 signings, one of them was from Ukraine, an artist called Carpet Man, and I only discovered him through TikTok, and I just became obsessed with his music, and then I became obsessed with his videos and the loops he was doing, and then 5, 6, 7 meetings later with the management team and the artist, we took him on last week, and we're now building his international live career from January 2025 onwards. And it was the same with 2 Australian artists that I found. Never would have come across them if I hadn't have been going through all of these reels of new music on TikTok. And I'm not saying use TikTok for that. Don't create content for teams that you want to work with, but remember that there are going to be people out there using that platform to find new music.
I just want to ask, in the first second, was it the track or the video itself that attracted your attention?
For Carpet Man, it was the video.
Cool, and you kind of actually answered a question I was about to ask you, Rob, because I was about to ask whether you've ever booked a band based on TikTok. So you kind of answered that in very good detail. And Nikita, as a videographer and artist yourself, what kind of advice are you giving your bandmates when it comes to music videos and short format social media posts? Is there anything you can share?
Honestly, I'm really bad at social media, and I'm a bit salty, because it diminishes my career path, essentially. And now it so happened that I made my first daily vlog on TikTok just now, and I wanted to embrace the flow and everything that comes with social media and try it out myself. And it still took me quite some time to produce it in a professional manner, in a professional sense, like Linda said, like they book a whole day for filming those TikToks. Honestly, I believe that it's quality over quantity. I completely disregard the collective amount of trashy content which everybody produces collectively. I mean, I think it's very cringe. I think it's very it like if you have a deeply set message with your music and you make a funny haha reel about your bandmate being late to the rehearsal or something, or guess our guitarist or whatever, you know, template you want to pick, I think it takes away from the musical experience. And maybe in Rob's case, I would really be curious to see the reel he saw, so that we could judge its artistry. Because when an artist stands out, they usually develop their own formula, their own style. You know, it's like you have to completely approach it as a different organism, I think. And my advice would not be to copy templates or just like make it your artistic expansion. Like there's the band and there's like, oh, maybe you're doing videos talking about your lyrics and lore, something like that. It's not that eye-catching. It's very unconventional, but stay original, you know. You're an artist, as it implies. You're not a social media agency. So, yeah.
One interesting thing that you said was to focus on quality rather than quantity. And I was also wondering, and there's generally loads of questions, you know, and artists are saying, okay, so we have to allocate more time on making these videos. So how sustainable is making a lot of those videos and generating that long forward? So Linda, you have a dedicated person, so maybe that's a solution. How do you think it's sustainable long term for the artists, and is there anything else that we can do to help them here?
Tricky question. I was thinking on this, that the work doesn't end with shooting this music video. Like a lot of people do the video and then, okay, what to do? But you have to plan ahead what you will do about the video, how you will communicate about your new release in all channels. And we live in such a fast time. Everything is changing, and you have to be ready up front. When you're releasing new song, new video, you have to be prepared what you will post on social media and TikToks. In this way, I think it's sustainable because it's a part of your whole strategy. But is everyone going to remember the Shalti Barshai TikToks? I don't think so.
Right, so people are going to talk about that, I don't know, the Prodigy video from 99, something, 97, Firestarter or something, but nobody's going to remember the TikTok video, right? Yeah, true. What's your perspective, Eglė, on this?
Thank you. Yeah, the only thought actually in my mind right now is how in these times, as you mentioned about the strategy and all that, artists and it's everything around him or her is nothing without a backstory or a story to tell. And storytelling in general, it takes time, you know, so that's why, for example, as we have this huge questionnaire for the artists coming to work with us, you know, and it's questions about you as a person, your visual identity, your music, what are you trying to say, and all that. And yeah, I totally agree with Linda here that you know, music video is a bigger thing and to be remembered rather than a TikTok video. So yeah.
Rob, do you have any thoughts on the sustainability of this?
I mean, like the only thing I can take from all of it, and I've got to stress, I don't specialize in this area of the industry, but you've just got to treat the music video with respect as you do the music that you're putting out there. You said something that was so right. You can't just throw it out and be like, there it is, and spit it out and go, there's the music video, like, be done with it. You've got to put it into the release schedule. You've got to think about how this is going to go. And my pet hate is stop fucking releasing the single and the video at the same time, because all you're doing is splitting your audience. They're going to go, one half is going to go to the audio and the other half might go to the visual, and then you're halving the audience right down the middle. And it's just like, there's no thought that's gone into that, because unless that is the greatest song that they've ever heard, they're not going to listen to it and then go watch the video, or vice versa. So think about the schedule, treat the video with respect, put the video out first, then have it followed up by the audio, or the other way around. But be inventive and think about how that plan is going to lay out. And especially when it falls in line with your live team and there's a tour that you've got on sale, or there's a particular headline show that you have on, think about how that music video could help enhance the sales and kind of grow your career on the live circuit.
Or get bookings, I suppose, right? See, Nikita is cheering this idea. So
I'm so glad you said it, because it's like, this is the thing I've been preaching the past year, like, because considering, you have, let's go back to the €1,000 thing. Consider that being your only amount of money you have for the time being. Obviously, you would like for it to last as long as possible, because a music video is not a meal you eat up and then it's done, it's gone. It's gonna stay, as we mentioned before. And I've tried it myself, and I've sort of with our band dadcap. Where we released the single first as an audio, and then we released our music video almost 4 months later. And it had like a completely different and opposite reaction, because when I approached people from the community, like in our rehearsal space, like, have you heard the single, guys? Oh, no, did something come out? Then the music video came out. Oh, yeah, we heard the new song. No, it's not new. It's like 5 months old at this point, And you have to expand the lifespan. It's a very, very underused tactic, which many artists, skim through. They skip it completely.
It's a good point that nowadays with streaming, especially longer form music videos can be streamed multiple times quite late after their release date. So any other similar strategies that you might have on either long form videos or short form videos, whatever works for you, Linda, and the band? Is there anything that you can share with us?
Well, I'm thinking what Rob said about publishing it on different dates. In Latvia, usually when you release music, you send out press release, and every media wants a YouTube link. Every media, like they're not going to publish only text. So I'm processing in my mind how it would work in Latvia.
I have a love-hate relationship with written media. Like, who the fuck is reading it? Like, like who's reading Clash magazine? Who's reading Line of Best Fit apart from us? There was a band that I signed six months ago. No, maybe over a year ago now, and they had all of these amazing press quotes from all of these amazing publishers. I was like, fucking hell, that's great. That's really good. We were onto a big winner here. Fast forward a year, they finally had the guts to turn around and said, yeah, we made up every single one of those quotes. And I was like, oh, you smart bastards. You're not going to check this stuff. Like, so I'm kind of like, the press is great, like, but that shouldn't be the main focus of you're putting the video out at the same time just to appease, like, to get a written piece. Just if they want to write about it, they'll write about it. And if they don't, it's their loss. That's how I would look at it. Or, give them a lyric video or something. But I wouldn't kind of feel pressured personally into going, oh God, they're not going to write about us, we need to give it to them now. Kind of ask for a video premiere 2 months later, 3 months later.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah, I have to process this. I'm too old school, maybe.
Yeah, it's a good point. Thinking about the priorities of music videos. So Rob, whenever you're signing or booking a band, where does it stand in comparison to other marketing avenues and materials? So we kind of discussed the press release a little bit. So, making up those quotes and trying to get yourself into magazines. Yeah. So would you say music videos are more important than reaching out to press and other avenues? Where does it stand in comparison to doing other things? How important it is? I
think we're living in a world and an industry right now where the artists are creating content and releasing music and videos for the industry, and we need to bring it back and remember that you are writing and releasing music for your audience. We've all become quite preachy, sat on our tables with our microphones being like, well, that's shit, no one's going to like that. It doesn't matter what we think, so you need to think about how this is going to get released and how you're going to feed it through to your audience. Because if you start selling tickets, if you start building up streams and followers online, it doesn't matter what any of us think. We're going to be there knocking at your door going like, please, can I work with you? Like, so that's where the focus needs to be here is, you know, writing, releasing, doing the videos for your audience and putting it out there. And if there's a publication that doesn't want to write about it, make them regret it. Put it out on TikTok, do your own video premiere, or do something really cool by you've got album listening parties, do video watch parties, bring people to a venue, put it on a projector, have a talk about it if it's like a meaningful video. One of my favorite bands, 21 Pilots, just did a video for every single one of their tracks on the album. And then they held back on the very last one because the whole album was part of this big lore story that was across 4 or 5 different albums that they put out, and there was only 3 or 4 videos from each album that carried on that lore story. And the very final one, after a decade of releasing, was the ending, which was a really beautiful journey. So they really thought about how those videos would be put out and released into the world for a 10-year span, which is insane. So it brings it back to my original point that artists need to be a bit more kind of artistic and inventive and just have fun with the videos again. And forget about us, because if it's good enough and the audience want it, then we're in.
That makes sense. Eglė, when you're defining a marketing strategy for either new release or whatnot, where does music video stand in the priority sort of list? Is it quite high above? Are other things above it? How do you see music videos as part of the overall marketing strategies that you do for the bands?
Working with up-and-coming artists, it's usually not the priority itself. But of course, we always think about, you know, at least some visualizations on YouTube or stuff like that. But I'm thinking what my colleagues here said, and I guess coming from the upcoming artist perspective, I'm mostly interested in where the song actually comes in, you know, because if the song is bad and you're wrapping it in a very nice little package called music video or TikTok campaign, whatever, you're becoming an influencer and not a musician, you know, presenting your music there. So I'm just interested myself during these marketing campaigns that we put together, you know, where's the line? Because you can really slip away with that and you know, start doing TikTok videos and be popular there. But when it comes to music, you go on Spotify and you see 100 streams there. So I guess some of the artists need to get, you know, back to the music itself and presenting that to the audience, despite whether they have video or not.
Right. Nikita, can you maybe share any personal experience where your music video significantly impacted band's career? Are there any specific videos, any specific ones that you want to talk about? Anything that pushed you up with some success, or anything that had a big impact, you feel?
I don't know how many bridges I can burn. So, no,
it's not being
joking.
recorded, is it?
Sorry?
No? I'm just joking.
I'm joking. It's fine. Honestly, I've been very privileged to work with larger artists and smaller artists, and maybe an established one where the music video was just like the expansion of the song later on in the process or whatever. But one example maybe comes to mind, 2 examples come to mind. I'll be brief. There's a band, alternative metal, rock, industrial, Eglė. And when they started out, we were in tandem with a very beloved director, Shukovsky. And we sort of approached them as a passion project because they obviously had no money. They had no clue who they are, what they want to be. And essentially it was the beginning of what Rob mentioned with 21 Pilots, only on a 10 times smaller scale, with our imagination, with our symbolism, and with anything we brought to the table. Because when the band's first single hit, it was a huge success. Then eventually it developed into a music video. Then the music video picked up from where the previous was, and we like thought of. We essentially developed the band's visual image and identity through our artistry, sort of, because they just asked questions, and they were sort of clueless, and we were very lucky to have them with us because they were inclined and very, accepting of our ideas. And what proved to me that it was a success is that when a music video came out, people were eager to see what the director did one more time, yet again, Oshakovsky did it again, or I love these visuals because it's by the same person, So you can kind of call it that, like the development of a band's image, and then they used his photography on vinyl artworks, on t-shirt prints, and he had a huge influence as an artistic director, and I believe not many bands have that. I'm lucky to be from a larger conglomerate, huge band, Ba, where we also had an artistic vision curated by our frontman, and alongside his best friend, a designer and also an artist. So yeah, I mean, in this example, Eglė stands very, 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 very nicely.
Thanks for sharing the story. And Linda, your band's doing quite well.
Can I add something?
Yeah, sure. Add first,
I'd like to share one example in Latvian music scene, which is rapper Fiinix. Hip hop was becoming more famous during last years, and he was like emerging artist, also getting more shows, more radio plays, and blah blah blah. And he and his girlfriend is working in cinema, so they know a lot of people who can help, and he did really great music videos, like all the time, and I think it helped him a lot to become like a more respected artist, and now he collects music industry awards, I think for 2 years for music videos. His productions are like, wow. Yeah.
And would you say that is even more significant than the music that
No. He's absolutely amazing.
First, right?
He's absolutely
still
amazing.
Most important.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Rob, you kind of touched a little bit about fan engagement, and you kind of were making a point that it's also important to make sure that the audience engages with the videos. I know you're more on the booking side, but maybe you have more insights here and can expand a little bit more on how to get the audience engaged as much as possible with those videos.
I think if you're a new band, it helps to have, it depends how you're talking about music videos as well. If you're talking about music videos in terms of lots of budget behind it, there's a story, there's actors, and there's people involved. That's one, in my opinion, that's one music video. The other music video is a live recording of the band in a studio or with an audience. And I'm not saying like done on a phone, but done with the proper recording equipment. And I think for a new developing artist anywhere in the world, having that in your catalogue is really, really important to show what it is you do live and what the setup looks like and how you sound and what the feel of it is. And for artists that I work with, especially ones that have kind of slightly different setups. So there's a band in Ireland called Thumper where they have 2 drummers and 4 guitarists, and yes, it's a fucking nightmare to tour, but when you see the video, it's like, oh my God, that's insane. There's 2 drummers on these high rises, and there's a line of guitarists. So it's really something to kind of take in and watch, whether you're there in person or watching it online. And we've noticed there's a lot of fan engagement with their live videos. And going back to one of the artists that I've just signed as well, Carpet Man, when I talk about him, I make it sound so tacky and awful. I'm like, it's a man and he wears a carpet on his face. And everyone's like, what the fuck? And then I show them the video and they go, oh my God, that's beautiful. I love that. And then there's meaning behind it. And again, there's loads of engagement with that. So I think it depends on the style of the band. And yeah, there he is. It depends on like the style of the artist and the imagery and whatnot. But yeah, it's the live side of it to actually show who you are and what it's about. That's important, and I find you get quite a lot of engagement through that side, at least in my line of work.
Yeah, and I guess translating that into that emotion to video somehow, so people are wow, or it's either funny or something works. So, and Eglė, you mentioned about one of the band's strategy of just making silly or funny videos. Can you expand on this strategy or anything else that works for other bands perhaps that helps with the more fan engagement? Is it funny videos that you found working the best, or is there anything else perhaps?
I guess those funny videos are just the brand expansion of the band. You know, they talk about different stuff there, but, you know, people see them as, you know, that those funny guys that are doing something. And does it help to the music and stream numbers? No, not at all. They're gathering followers on TikToks, but regarding increase in streams, nothing happened. So that's why I'm always thinking about that thin line between musicians being influencers and musicians being musicians, actually. So yeah, as I mentioned, we're working with the alternative artists. It's hard to push them to do those reels or TikToks or whatever. But I usually suggest to express themselves there as they can. You know, because TikTok as a huge platform, it kind of dictates rules. What should you put there or not? But as Nikita mentioned, I guess each artist can find in himself, you know, what to express there. Either it's lyric description or showing your studio work or just how your studio looks or whatever. So it really depends on the artist. But I guess the more true artist is on that social media platform, the better it is for the artist in the long run.
Right. And you mentioned one interesting thing, saying there's some videos that get engagement but does not necessarily translate into streaming numbers or whatever. So Rob, my question for you would be, have you ever ran into cases perhaps where someone's got great social media, but when you book them, you realize that there's maybe not as much audience as you would have expected, and how do you view those potential discrepancies?
In terms of like ticket buyers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the never-ending battle of being a booking agent. Oh my God, they've got millions of followers online and then they can't sell 5 tickets. It's like we're still, I think as an industry, still trying to build that bridge from A to B and how to turn those digital followers into physical followers. There's no real answer for that yet, but I think it's just, look, I'm a glorified salesperson. That's my job. I sell music and I sell live shows. If I love it, I don't care if you're selling 5 tickets or 50,000. Like we're gonna turn this into a career and we're gonna make this into something. And I think if you surround yourself by that passion and you have a team that are that passionate around you, it's all gonna come. I think one of the first big steps is to have a digital following, because when you do have a show, you want to go put that out there and you need an audience to go, hey, look, I'm playing a show. Doesn't matter if that's 5, 10, 15 people that buy a ticket. That's a fucking start and something you can build up on. But you know, every agent works differently. For me, I'm like that. It's a good sign for me if you've got a big following online, because it does mean that you're doing something right, and eventually that is going to move into some form of success one way or another.
Are you aware of any strategies, perhaps, of converting those followers into more engaged fans who would buy the more tickets to the shows, perhaps?
I do, but if I tell you that, then I'm out of a job, and you're not going to need me.
Fair enough. It's a good time to open up for questions. Still have about 50 minutes to go.
Can I maybe add something? Sorry.
Yeah,
I was looking in my phone. I wanted to find the email I received from Biļešu Service, which is a brother of Biļetai. It will be the first company, one of the first companies in Latvia that will have access to campaigns in TikTok. I did not find any time frame when it will start, but I think it's a huge news, and it might change the platform to more serious. I think everyone should change their attitude towards TikTok like now, so we can all use it for our ticket sales and our businesses. Yeah, that
makes sense. Do you want to add something, Rob?
No, I was just going to say, just keep it fun a little bit as well, because if it comes, we live in a very serious world, and if we take the fun out of everything, then it's just going to be even grayer. And sometimes it's nice to see an artist be a bit silly on the platforms, because it reminds you that, hey, they're human. You know, they do have, whether we might find it cringy, but then someone younger than us might look at it and go, oh my God, they're so adorable, you know?
2010's internet was a wild place as well, you know? Raise your hands who has TikTok. Oh, you see? I don't have a TikTok. See, that's the audience engagement. Let's go for the questions, Thomas, right?
Yeah. Questions? Any questions? We have one. I'll just go with that.
Thank you. By the way, I'm Petunia. I'm playing tonight at 8, so please come. I wanted to ask if you're if you're doing content. I know, Rob, you said that you're not an expert, but you kind of are now. So I want to ask you, if you're a Lithuanian artist and you're mostly like touring yet, like in Lithuania, but you want to reach the European audiences, how do you see the languages thing? Like, should I communicate in Lithuanian? Should I put subtitles? Should I do, I don't know, in English? And maybe you have an opinion on that, because this is like a weird algorithm thing where it's like closing near the Lithuanian border and it doesn't come through. So do you know how to fight it? Thank you.
That's a great question and a really tough one to answer. I mean, look, you sing in whatever language and you want to sing in. If that's who you are and that's what your performance is, do it. I mean, there's no point in beating around the bush. We all know if you're not singing and performing in English, it's very difficult to kind of break through and become known in the wider market. But it's not impossible. It just takes a lot more work. So I think if that's what you want to do, definitely add subtitles on. I think every video should have subtitles on, especially in this day and age that we live in. There are deaf people out there that like music, or people of harder hearing. So to have that subtitle option on there is always useful. But yeah, I don't really have an easy answer for that, unfortunately. And I know that's not what you want to hear.
Anyone from the panel of experts want to add to this? Eglė?
I don't know, as I'm talking with, for example, showcase organizers, you know, what they ask when submitting the bands from Lithuania are the numbers and who's, you know, a hit right now here locally. So first, maybe, we should, you know, gather those numbers here and then take a next step there, because it still matters. If you want to do everything, I don't know, something in the foreign market, that's cool. But the first thing, like what they're asking is how big are you locally? So, yeah.
But then if I were you, I'd just say fuck it and do it in Lithuanian and subtitled it in English. Yeah. It just takes a lot of time. It just sucks. I mean, maybe the most discouraging thing for me was when I made my own video in Lithuanian and I could not use the tools to auto-caption because it would save so much time. And if you go over this, most people watch videos without sound, so it doesn't matter. So essentially, bam, I'm singing here, I'm doing this. You've done content in English, so I mean, you're good at it. I guess it's just you just need maybe a separate account or something. Maybe consider it being a sideshow or something. Just expand your horizons. But yeah, the tools unfortunately are not in the favor of the Lithuanian language. Yeah.
Actually, kind of to counteract that, and something that I was talking about earlier was the whole technology that you have at your fingertips. Every single phone now is coming with real-time translation. AI is getting smarter every single day, whether you love or you hate it. Like, embrace it, use it, then be the first fucking artist to change the story of a Lithuanian artist becoming big, and use that to kind of translate your music as you're performing live. Every festival now has people translating music for people of hard of hearing. Like, that was never a thing over a decade ago. And now it is at every single major festival. They're at the corner of the stages, they're on the TVs. So, you know, just use the technology and start utilizing it and learning how to use it now so that you can carry on doing what you're doing and people of other languages can understand what you're singing and performing.
And Linda, perhaps, have you noticed any difference between different platforms and on how they push content either locally or internationally, whether perhaps on TikTok or Instagram, maybe even YouTube Shorts if you're using it? Are there any differences between these platforms? Maybe some of them are more easier to push content internationally?
I'm not an expert on this because I'm not more working with social media so much, but what I have heard from my colleague, location matters in TikTok, where you upload the content. Like we can't upload it in Riga and hope it will get in algorithms here. We have to be here, upload it, and then it works better. It's
actually something that I have heard as well. So yeah. Eglė is nodding as well. Yeah, cool. Any more questions from the audience?
Just quickly as well. Also interact with other international artists. If there's a market you want to get into, don't hit up the big A-listers. Like, go down the list a little bit and find someone that's actually going to respond back back to you, and especially in the same kind of genre and world of music that you're working in. So if you're putting stuff up on TikTok and you want to go into the German market, start finding some German bands in Berlin or Hamburg that you kind of want to interact with. And as soon as you start following, commenting, and they start seeing your name pop up more and more and more, they'll go, damn, that music's fucking cool. And they'll share it hopefully on their platform. Boom, you've just broken into a new market with a new audience. So think about that as well, and like how you're going to infiltrate other musicians.
That's good advice. Do you want to add something, Nikita?
No, I just wanted to encourage people to ask questions in Lithuanian if they don't want to speak in English. So.
Yeah, that's
Galit klausti lietuviškai čia tarsi.
Yeah, hand. Yeah.
Maybe I'll just add a comment that there's a strange phenomenon in Lithuania, I think, where regarding upcoming bands who don't have money and are trying to get a music video or any visuals really, if they are lucky enough to get on board a director, for example, like Shukovsky, because Shukovsky was more known than Eglė at that point. He had his following because everybody knew that he's doing really good job at music videos and directing. So it was like, if you're lucky enough to get someone on board who's got a bigger exposure, let's say, in some kind of audience that is not necessarily, musical audience, it might be visual audience, but still, then, you attract your people from there. And I've seen a few cases where a new band, they release one single, they don't have a plan of an EP or an album, they just released a single, but that first single gathers like 5,000 views. For an upcoming band in Lithuania, that's huge. That's like crazy. That's trending, basically. Who just released one video, and that single was with the video of Shukovsky. And then they, follow that with another single that just has an artwork. Nothing happens. 100 views. That's it.
Are you talking about Shitty?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. It's a band name. It just sounds shitty,
Yeah, well, that's a good thought.
I mean, I can add
anything to add.
I can add to Maria's ideas because I see in the audience a couple of very, very pronounced bands and artists. Maybe he's like now, scrolling his phone and being distracted and stuff. Also wanted to give compliments to Petunia and adding to Maria's example. Yeah, for example, we have a great video director, Saulius Baradinskas, and he built a lot of bands. He built images for those bands, and for example, he worked hand in hand with The Roop, which is a very popular band in Lithuania, and it can participate in Eurovision, and they have a very strong artistic vision, and sort of it developed through the artist, because whatever was before in The Roop's repertoire, visual repertoire, was kind of generic, and before Saulius it was like okay, and then after Saulius like there's a fashion, there's a style, there's a lot of new creative artistic ideas expressed by the director. So yeah, that's it.
That makes sense. Any more questions? Any hands? Last chance. Okay, let's wrap this panel up with a $1 million question. Looking ahead, how do you see the role of music videos evolving in the next 5 to 10 years? So a little bit of forecasting. Rob, let's start with you.
I kind of answered it earlier. I think it's going to be immersive music videos. Mm-hmm. I think we're going to take it all. I'm a futurist, if you haven't figured that out yet. I love technology, and it is just making jobs so much easier. I'm not ashamed to admit I routed 2 tours with the use of AI, and it was phenomenal. But I think we're going to take music videos in through the glasses or through headsets, contact lenses, or we're going to be able to project them onto tables so we can have them on a 3D format. I think there's like endless opportunities of where music videos are going to go because of those things.
Exciting. Nikita, I see a very...
No.
Go for it.
I think it's going to be more valued with time. Because even the advancements of tech and all other stuff, they bring new perspective to music videos, but people's artistry does not evolve with tech. You may find a gimmick, for example, VR and stuff, but it won't develop further if your imagination is lacking. So I think music videos are going to still remain the most valuable artistic asset. because the short form content is going to expand so exponentially that we're going to be looking back at music videos like we look back at MTV, you know, sort of.
Right.
I'm talking from a perspective of a person who remembers what MTV was, so it's not relatable to everyone, but yeah. I mean, you still have the MTV channel playing all the 2000 hits with the music videos there, so it's going to be sort of a similar thing, I think.
And just quickly, one thought that I had: how do you the long form videos that are longer than perhaps not short, but just music videos like performance videos? Do you think there's a future for that? Perhaps.
You mean live videos like?
Yeah, like live videos.
Oh yeah, I love those. I think they're gonna live on and live on. Those are more valuable because you can actually skip playing live as a band. Just record yourself playing live with real live sound and all the fuck ups and stuff, and you're gonna be as good because people will seek out. And they kind of rock live, and that I think I love watching those. These should be done more often for bigger shows as well. And whenever a huge festival like Lollapalooza or Coachella or anyone releases those videos, it's so cool to watch. I don't know why, but it's.
And I guess with new technology, there's going to be new and immersive ways to watch those performances, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can already do that now. You can stand on the stage and you can stand on the side, in the pit, wherever you want to be. But I definitely agree. Live videos are the future. They're going to be our history books as an industry. One of my favorite bands of all time, Linkin Park. You know, rest in peace, Chester. But you can go back and you can watch him do his thing, and it's phenomenal. And
live in Mexico.
Oh yeah. But yeah, the live videos, that's the one. But they're never going to die, and that they're only going to get more important with time.
Sweet. Eglė, would you wrap up your thoughts on the future of music videos in the next 5 to 10 years?
Just gotta agree with the guys, like technology experts here. But yeah, like I guess live for sure will be a priority in every artist's career. And I really hope to see who will be a new trendsetter in the music industry and what technology they will use next. And for that, we need a budget.
I mean, if I would have €1,000 now just to spend on music stuff, I'd just find my friend tech engineer, do a live music video with my iPhones or whatever. Like everybody has these. You can link them up. You can ask ChatGPT to do that for you as well, by the way. And I would spend my money on lunch and maybe spend €500. You know, keep 500 to spend on stuff, and the rest would go on production. And yeah, and everything else on catering, food and drinks. So yeah, do live videos, guys.
Linda, to wrap up, what are your thoughts on the future?
Yeah, I can only agree to everyone here that live videos are gonna live on, and we put a lot of effort to make productions of big shows. We better record it and do something fun with the content. Like Southern Lights, we played a big show last year, and we created the concert movie. We also wanted to do something more creative, just not only record the performance, but put some extra content about the band, about the history, and do your thing.
Perfect.
Be creative.
On that note, I think we really answered that question. Do you really need that video? Yes. Yes. On that note, a round of applause for our panel of experts here.